Hello Reborn family, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. Today we're going to try to root Clover on our Fun Friday. I mapped out a little design on his head to root his hair, and I'm hoping it's going to look halfway decent. I'm going to try to make him a girl, so I'm probably going to give him some ponytails. So I'm going to root this little triangle right here for one ponytail, and this little triangle right here for a second ponytail. And then I'm just going to root this little diamond shape on his head, so it'll look a little different from Jasper's. I want him to look similar, but not exactly the same, because that would just be weird. So anyway, I'm going to start in the back. I usually start in the back and I root up this way from the bottom to the top, and I do it with the head upside down. You can do it this way as well, but you have to poke up. So I'd rather poke down, so I turn the head upside down. It's just a preference on which way you want to do it. I've got my hair this time in a little command strip. It holds it very straight and still for you. It's still very, very curly. I would clip it closer to the end, but I'm afraid I won't be able to get the hair out. I'm just going to try it and see what happens. I may reposition the command strip before I'm finished rooting, because I just don't know. This is the first time I've ever used a command strip, but it is a good idea, because see, it has these little spaces in between the hooks. The fuzzy part that they're calling the loops is solid, and the hair just lays against it. But the hooks have separate little hooks that hook into that, and there's little spaces between it, so that when you do get a hair in the head and you're pulling away, it'll slip out of the bundle here. Otherwise it wouldn't let go of it. So I'm going to try it this way and see what happens. This hair is so easy to root, just like a dream, and it doesn't usually leave very much hair on the table. It's very easy to pick up, unlike mohair that just gets everywhere. This hair is easy to just brush off the table. You can brush it right into your hand and throw it in the garbage. So I feel a little more comfortable to root this here. I have my rooting pillow. It's very small for tiny heads, so it doesn't take up, and it's not super puffy and tall that makes you hold your hands up too high. So I feel a little more comfortable to root here with this pillow and the hair like this. I think I can do it. But I'm going to just start on his head here and see how much I can get done while my two dolls are baking and cooling. I'm still working on, I just put Kyrie in the oven to bake, and I still have another bake on Frankie, and during that time I'm going to work on rooting Clover. This is my fun day. I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do. I'm calling this Fun Friday because I'm just going to do fun things. I love to root, and I really love to root Clover. I want to root him before Monday, and this is Friday, so I have to get started on him. I think I can root him in one day because I did Jasper. It was super easy. This hair roots like a dream. Look at that. Already got that much in. Now we need to keep it going in this direction or it gets in your way for rooting. So we're going to use our toothbrush to just brush it down. And when we get all finished, I'm going to make him two little ponytails, and I'm going to give him something on top. I don't know what I want to do yet on top, but it's going to be cute. I know that. I love this hair, and Regina won't divulge her source, so she said she'd get the hair for me. It's her secret recipe, I guess. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to do it either. Any hairs that get out of my little area that I've penciled off, I'm just going to pull out because it's the easier way to do it. It's very easy to do it that way. You just pull out the ones you don't like, and you don't have to be extra super careful as you're rooting. You do need to stay within that triangle as much as possible. A few hairs are going to get out though, because you can't readily see through this hair because it's so dark. And I kind of have a thick bundle here, so it's a little bit harder to see through the bundle to see where you're poking. I know kind of where I'm poking, and I know that I'm close to where I want to be, but yet I'm not exact. So I'll be pulling out some hairs too, which I left my tweezers in the bedroom because I was tweezing on a doll. I think I did. I was tweezing on a doll in there. as I was putting my dolls together and going in there and putting them on the bed, I was changing my mind about some of their lashes and brows. Some of them I pulled some of them out, and some of them I pulled the whole entire thing out because I just didn't like the way it rooted. And I'm going to be either redoing them or something. If I can't get the lashes right, I'll stick on some of those stick-on lashes. But with the brows, too bad they don't make stick-on brows too, because I'm telling you, I can't do it. I need lots more practice, but in the meantime, I'm just making holes in my doll's head. And yeah, it's not that bad. I do need to practice it. I'm not seeming to get very much hair in here. This is too flyaway. I'm going to get another command strip, and I'm going to go get them tweezers. I'll be right back. In the interest of not having to search for it, I just brought this other pair of tweezers that I already had in the bedroom. They're not my real good ones, but they do work. And I brought my little brush that I use. Has a comb on one end and a brush on the other end. I use it more often than I use the toothbrush now. And I'm just gonna look for where I put those command strips. I put them up in here. I'm not sure which drawer they're in, but I'm gonna find them. Here they are. I got a big pack of them like this. Big old pack. I'm just going to get another one to put closer to the end. I'm afraid if I take that one off, I won't be able to get it back on straight again. So I'm just going to put another one in front of it and then take it off. Does that make sense? Oh, crap. These are real thick. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. All I know is they're real thick. And are all of these hooks? Where are the loop ones? This is cumbersome to try to get one out. Oh, crap. There we go. Okay. Get back in there. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to revamp this stack of hair here and get them a little bit closer to the end, like that. I just need it closer because the hairs are too fly away. They're just moving instead of me being able to hook them. And this will keep them a little bit more together, I think. I'm just going to try it like that. And if it's too tight, I'll take one of them off. But anyway, I got some hairs on the outside here. Like I said, I can't readily see the little triangle I'm trying to root in. And I got out of it a little bit right here. There we go. That's all I need to pull out. These hairs are very easy to just pick up and throw away. Unlike mohair, which sticks to everything it touches. Now let's see if I can lay this against the head like this and root now. I'm thinking I can. If I just had a flat iron, I could flat iron this hair and make it lay down beautifully. But I don't and I can't. But I'm doing okay. This hair is not hard to root. The hardest part is keeping this hair straight. It's very, very curly. That's the part that's the hardest. And if you had a flat iron and flat iron the end of it, it would just lay down very beautifully for you, and it would be much, much easier to root. But we don't have that, so we can't worry about that right now. So we're just going to do what we can do. We can't do any more than that. It's actually pretty easy to root. I remember rooting Jasper's hair, and in 10 minutes I was way up on the back of his head. Uh, but this baby's going to have a little more hair because instead of having one little bunch of hair, he's going to have two. And I'm going to make them into ponytails. I'm going to make this one a girl. He's already got his clothes on his body, and he's going to be a girl. Clover could be a girl's name or a boy's name, actually. So I'm not really sure if they're supposed to be a boy or a girl. Because when people reborn these little kits, they sometimes make them boys and they sometimes make them girls. I've seen them both ways. So it's really hard to decide on a little kit like this that's really kind of gender neutral if you want it to be a boy or a girl. And so I was at Walmart looking for a little outfit for them. And I saw these little outfits that look sort of like pajamas. And I just thought they were real, real cute. And so I decided I'll get one boy one and one girl one. I'll make one of them a girl and one of them a boy. And then they look like they go together. One's sleeping, one's awake, one's a boy, one's a girl. They look a little different, but they look similar. And that's what makes them look good to me. It's not thick enough. I'm not rooting it thick enough like I did when I was rooting Jasper's hair. Gotta get more hairs in there. Jasper has very thick hair. I rooted it very dense, and it makes it, you know, very solid, and it'll style almost any way you want it. It's real, real nice. Real nice, nice, nice. And I want Clover's to be equally nice. I really got out of the lines here. Got to keep it cleaned up because I want it to look equally as good as Jasper's looked. And Jasper's was super thick and super cute. And I want this one that way too. I want to have nice little ponytails for her. And in order to get that, I need to have thick, thick hair rooted here. It needs to be kind of thick. I'm going to root some of this because it's just together now. And I don't have to worry about needing a command strip. And I think I can get a lot of thicker hair into this doll. With this one, I'm going to use some of this and some of that as well. Just keep rooting until it's the thickness you want. And if you're getting outside your little area, just pick them out. Because you can't really see. You cannot see what you're doing. Not really. So quite a lot of hairs are going in. And it's getting thick. And that's what I want, thick. So every now and then I just stop and see what's outside the lines. Gotta brush it down first. We want it brushed down all the time. And then I see, okay, does it look sloppy? Does it look like it's inside the lines? What do I need to pick out? Because, okay, I keep getting out of the lines. I'm just going to have to get me a flat iron. I just really want to flat iron the ends of that hair. Normally, on regular mohair, you don't need to do that because it's not that curly. But this really, really curly stuff, it really does kind of curl up into a ball where you can't lay it against the head and root normally. This is tedious picking out these one or two little hairs outside the lines. But if you don't keep it nice and straight and clean like that, it's going to be real jagged looking. And when you try to make the ponytails, they're going to look funny. But if you don't pick, if you don't have a flat iron, you have to contend with these ends being super curly. Even that little bit of curl sticking up like that will cause you to not be able to catch a hair sometimes. And that's what I'm experiencing. So I'm going to try this bundle for right now and see how far I can get with this before I actually have to use that other hair. And it's going to come to that. It's actually going to come to that. So usually you don't root in a straight line, but I'm trying to root right along that line that I made. That's the border of his hairstyle, and I need hairs on that line. Well, they're not pulling out of the bundle very well. This is very, very matted, which makes it very hard to root because the hair is going to take the path of least resistance. And right now that is pulling back out of the head. Most of it is pulling back out of the head, so you can get some in. I'm not saying you can't get any in. I'm saying they're not going in well because the hair is matted. And I didn't sit down and take the time to pick out the mats. I can do that. I've done it many, many times because I don't throw away my scrap hair, because sometimes you might be just a tiny bit away from having the head completely rooted and you don't have any more hair and you're going, oh, I threw out all that scrap hair. I wish I'd have kept it because now I need just a tiny bit more hair. And so it could literally mean the difference in finishing your doll and having to order more hair before you can finish your doll. So I don't throw it out. And there have been times I've had enough scrap hair to actually root an entire doll with just the scrap hair. It's a little harder to root that way, but I actually made a video one time. I think I've deleted it. I've deleted a lot of my older videos because people don't tend to watch them. Anyway, I made one, rooting with only scrap hair was the name of it. I don't know if it's still up. I really don't know because, like I said, I deleted a lot of my videos. I don't just scroll back and see what I still have. I just don't do that. But sometimes, you know, the older videos just don't get watched. People are tending to watch only your newer videos. And so it's just a bunch of extra videos on there for no reason. Plus, if you're updating your techniques and stuff, learning and growing, they're going to follow something you did a long time ago and you're going, oh, I don't want people to follow that now. I want them to follow what I'm doing now. So there's another reason to not keep old videos. Regina puts hers on a flash drive because she wants to save them. I can't seem to work that out on an iPad. According to what I read online, I've been Googling stuff to figure out what I can and cannot do. And there's no place on an iPad to plug in any sort of a memory card or anything like that. You actually have to buy a memory card port or something. I don't understand a lot of what I read because I'm internet stupid. I'm technology stupid. And so I don't really know how to do a lot of things that you read about, saying, do this, do this, do this. I'm going, huh? Can somebody explain it to me like, you know, I'm 5? Because this is like a foreign language to me. And anyway, it's hard sometimes to do stuff like that when you don't know what you're doing. Regina was trying to explain to me how to edit a video. I'm going, huh? I said, start over. I'm 5 years old. Tell me now. And she said, it's really not all that hard to do this. You can do this and this and this. Okay. I don't know what any of that means, but okay. CapCut was mentioned. She said it was something you had to download. I'm going to try to do that today. I want to have an introduction to my videos. I used to have it. Of course, I've deleted all those videos. They were real, real old. But when my great nephew was editing my videos, it came on like a TV show, kind of. It was like an introduction that played out first, and then it would cut to me sitting there talking, and you know, it was nice. I liked that part. There were some parts I didn't like because he cut out too much and stuff like that, but the parts I did like were real nice. And that's one of the things I want to do, is have an introduction. And another thing is I want to, if I say something like, please like, subscribe, and share, I want it to pop up on the screen. I want to be able to do that. And the last thing I want to be able to do is fast forward. Since I can't pause, I could go, you know, I'm going to do 2 limbs, one arm and one leg, and then I'm going to fast forward the rest. It would make the videos smoother. It wouldn't be as boring to have to watch me do stuff over and over again on all the limbs when it's the same process. It would just make them a little less content heavy, I guess. I don't know. But not that I'd always do that, because I don't. I wouldn't. Look, it's starting to look real nice. Look at that. He's going to have another one over here. Well, and I'm going to make them into ponytails with little rubber bands. Anyway, those are the things I want to do in editing. I don't really want to have a lot of fancy frills or anything. I just want those three things. And I don't know how to achieve it at all. So that's why I've never done it, because I don't know how. Now, like I said, I used to have some videos that were edited that way because someone else did it. Like if I said, in one video, I was explaining what you needed to reborn. And as I said the things like I might have said, you need some paint thinner. And paint thinner would just look like somebody was typing it up on the screen as I was saying it. And then I'd say, and you need some swabs. Swabs would come up. And it was just neat. It sort of enhances what you're saying, that people will see it and hear it. And I thought it was nice. I liked that feature. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't know how to do it, so maybe I'll never get it. I don't know. But I'd like it. I'd like to have it, so I may try. I don't know. She said cap cut was a way you could... I've never heard of that, and I don't know how it works, so I may investigate that today and see if I can just figure it out. If I'm able to do any one thing to my video, I'm going to try to do it. I don't know what it would be that I would be able to do. Maybe have something pop up on the screen. But she said she was able to make an introduction, but she was unable to reduplicate it again the second time she wanted to do it. So I don't know. It must be hard. But she can make things pop up on her screen, and she can make her video fast forward. She did speed rooting, and when I saw her doing that, I'm going, how did you do that? I've been trying to do that all this long time I've been making videos, and I've never been able to do it. And she said, cap cut. What in the heck is that? I said. And she started explaining it, and I said, okay, I have to download it from like the app store. Okay, I can do that. And she said, then you just go through it and just play around with it until you figure it out. That's what she did. And so I said, all right, I can do that. But I don't know that I'll ever make anything out of it. I just don't know if I'll ever be able to do anything with it. But I can sure try. But anyway, we'll see. Look at that. It's starting to get real nice. Now I need to do it on this side a little more. See, it started out small, getting bigger and bigger as you go up. Just like Jasper's hair did, except she's going to have two of them. And we're going to ponytail them, I think. I hope. I hope they're not going to be weird where you can't ponytail them. If they are, I'll just leave them long like this. I don't know. But I do want to ponytail them. I do have the small rubber bands, so I could do it. It's just, can I get them into a ponytail? I don't know. Regina did say she would braid them for me if I wanted to send them to her, but I don't know if I really want it braided or not. I kind of do, and I kind of don't. I was dead set on getting Jasper's braided until I saw how cute it was unbraided, and I decided to go with that. Now, that doesn't mean that later on I won't choose to go on and have it braided. I just wanted to think about it and look at it first. And, you know, sometimes it grows on you, sometimes it don't, and you'll go, I think I will get those braids, you know. You just don't know until you get there what you really want to do. It's just like I couldn't decide what to do to Jasper until I sat down and said, okay, I'm ready to root him now. I'm going to think something up. And I put his head in front of me, and I go, I want it similar to Jasper's, but not the same. So we're going to do something a little different, but sort of the same. So that's what I did. So it is working out, but it's just a little bit hard. I still don't know what I want to do on top of his head. I want them to look like they go together, but they're not exactly the same. You know, like they're brothers or something, or in the same family or something, but their hair is a little different. You know how brothers can have different colors of hair. They can have different styles of hair, different textures of hair. They can have a lot of things alike, but a lot of things different as well. So that's what I kind of wanted them to be, sort of the same, not exact. This bundle's getting so small that not much is coming out of it. You poke 10 times, you get 3 hairs. This is why I don't think you need to worry about, you don't worry about mono rooting. Most of it's going to mono root all by itself, because reality is your barb's not going to always catch a hair. And if you get 3 hairs in a hole, I say yay, you got 3 hairs in a hole that time. And if you don't like it, you can pull it out. But the problem is, can you even get 1 hair in the hole? And when I see people posting things about, I'm just struggling so hard to get a needle with more barbs. It ensures you catch more hairs. And if you don't like the number of hairs in the hole, pull some of them out. Because you can actually get hairs in the hole this way, in the head. And you have some rooting done. I don't worry about it being pluggy, because it's usually not. If I just think it's real pluggy, like I said, you can just pull some of it out. I got to clean this up a little bit. I'm getting out of the area and it's starting to look messy. It may not be perfect, your rooting, but it's going to be nice. It's going to look okay, because like I said, yeah, his hair's pluggy. It sure is. But can you tell down here that it's pluggy? No, you can see it up here, but that's going to be covered up by more hair. So you're not really going to see the pluggy. So what's the difference? You just want to be a little more careful close to the hairline and stuff, that it's a little less pluggy. But this part, yeah, if you go like this and start parting the hair and look, yeah, you can see the plugs then. But you'll never see it. You'll never know the difference, because it just doesn't show. I don't like that hair being that far out. I'm going to pull that one out. And I'll clean that up a little more after I'm sure how I want to do it. Once I get it in the ponytail, I'll just go up and down these sides and pull out what I don't like. This piece is too little now. I'm going to try this piece again. It's kind of very matted, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with it. I need to cut some of it off, some of the matted part off, which will open up the ends a little bit where you can use it a little more. The more you're able to use out of it, the less matted it's going to be, because it's going to come out of that matted part too. It just comes out. The problem is you can't root from the matted part. You can root from these ends that are still loose, and it'll pull out of the mat. But if you try to root from this matted part, it'll just pull out of the head. See, this part's still real loose. So if I get one of these hairs rooted, it will pull out of the mat and go in the head. So it's just all the way you use your hair. If you learn how to use your scrap hair, you can use it very effectively. If you don't, well, then you're going to be wasting a lot of hair. And you don't want to waste hair that looks this beautiful. You don't want to waste any part of it, because, well, it's probably expensive for one thing. And on the other hand, it's beautiful. You want to have it, as much of it as you can, to use. And that's quite a bundle of hair. And I've been cutting just the ends off to root it all this little. You only need just a short little piece. And so the hair's really long. It would be great for a toddler. If you're doing a toddler and you want it to have curly hair, this would be great hair. It actually, when you touch it, feels like human hair. It is human hair, but, you know, I bought some human hair one time, and it just didn't feel like human hair. It felt like they had waxed it or something. I don't know. It just felt fake. And the whole time I was rooting it, it was so difficult to root, because it was so slick. It just kept sliding out of the head instead of sliding out of the bundle. and it was just horrible to root with. I think I rooted 2 dolls with it, and I just threw the rest of it out because I couldn't make it work. It was just horrible. And I said, no, I don't think so. And see, we're making headway. We're almost up there. We only have this much more to go to get the back rooted. And then I have this little triangle in the front that we're going to do from the front. And it's going to be his front hair. And I have to do this other side too, though. But as long as hairs are coming out of your bundle, it's still a good bundle. You can still use it. I don't care how matted it is. You can still use it. See, hairs are coming right out of this bundle, so I'm still able to root with it. So why waste another bundle of hair when this one's still usable? This one's actually still usable too. It's just so thin I need to add it to another bundle. It's just so thin, unless you're actually trying to mono root, you're not going to get a hair because it's just too thin. I don't try to mono root. I never have tried, and I won't. I'm trying to just get hair in the head. See, my rooting almost looks like mono rooting anyway. If you look at it, you notice that the hairs right over in here where I've just been rooting, it's just one to two, maybe 3 hairs in each hold. So it's not it's micro rooting is what it is. It's not mono rooting. Mono rooting literally means 1 hair in every hole. And some people really, really strive for that. And it's very difficult to achieve. It takes you forever to root the head. That's why I say if I get 3 hairs in a hole, I'm going, yay, I got 3 hairs in that hole. Because it makes the hair thicker and prettier. And like I said, you're never going to see the plugginess of it. You're just not going to see it. And it's not going to matter. It's not that pluggy in the first place. It's not like huge plugs of hair like manufactured dolls from a factory have a machine that comes down and roots the head. And they literally put 20 or 30 hairs in a hole because they just want to fill the head up. They don't really care if it's pluggy. And if you buy one of those dolls, you can definitely tell that it's got pluggy hair. You can see it. And no, don't root that way. Don't put 30 hairs in a hole. But this way, if I get even 5 in a hole, I'm not worried about it because it doesn't look pluggy. It's slightly pluggy if it's on the edges. It looks slightly pluggy, but I'm good with that. I can just be more careful on the edges and not get so much in the hole. You know, just be a little more selective. I usually root the edges really slow and purposefully to try to get only 1 to 2 hairs in a hole. But, you know, sometimes you get more and you can always pull them out. I'm purposely rooting really close to that other hair because I want his hair thick so that when I put the ponytails in, it doesn't look thin. I want it to look like he's got a full head of hair. Really thick like Jasper got. I love his hair. It's so cute. I've gotten lots of positive comments about it. I did get a few negative comments about it, but most of the comments were very positive. And not that I'm going to do what other people say, really. That's not, you know, I do want to know if people liked it, but it's not going to make me do something different because they say they don't like it. I just wanted to know how people felt about it. Now, if everybody was going, that's hideous, it's horrible, it's ugly, I don't even know that I'd change it then, because if I like it, that's all I care about, really. But I did want to know what people thought. And I do appreciate everybody being honest about it. Say your opinion, if you know, even if it's I don't like it. I had a couple people say cut it shorter. A couple people said don't make it stick up like that. I mean, there were some negative, there were, but most of them were very positive. And it's so cute. Don't do anything else to it. That kind of thing. And that's what I was feeling. It's not like I wanted somebody to tell me what to do. I just want to know if anybody was thinking what I was thinking, you know. Because most of the time I don't need validation from other people. Most of the time I don't even ask. And so I just asked that time, what do you think of my cute little fairy, you know? And people was actually giving me their their opinions, which is nice. Uh, but, and it doesn't hurt my feelings if somebody says I don't like it, it's ugly. I don't care. You don't have to like it. I mean, you don't have to be that mean about it, but you don't have to guard my feelings. I'm not going to cry or nothing, you know. I like it, and that's what matters. I learned a long time ago to get a kind of hard shell on you. I'm like a turtle with a hard shell. I'm not that squishy little inside turtle that somebody can just step on and make me cry or something, you know. I'm not like that. You don't like it? Okay. It's your opinion. You have every right to think that. We all have our own opinions, and we have the right to have them. But you don't have to be mean about it. Not that anybody was mean. I didn't think anybody was mean. Everybody just gave me their opinion, and I appreciated it. And nobody was mean about it, though. Nobody said, oh, that's just hideous. You know, that's just rude, you know. And you can say, yeah, well, I'd probably do this or that. And that's fine, you know. I did ask, you know. And when you ask, you shouldn't ask if you don't want the opinions, really. That's my take on it anyway. Not everybody's going to like your doll, and it's normal to have it that way because we're all different. And the doll you think is so beautiful, somebody else thinks is ugly. The doll you think is ugly, somebody else thinks is beautiful. And that's been evident in some of the dolls I've made that I thought, oh, this doll's never going to sell. It's just hideous. Sold in 2 hours or something. I'm going, I just can't believe that ugly doll sold that fast. And it's just like one man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, it's the same thing with the beauty of a doll. It's in the eye of the beholder. Some people think it's beautiful. Some people think it's ugly. Well, it's okay. But you know, people do have feelings, and I try to be kind to everyone. Kind. And maybe I don't always come across as kind, but I certainly try to not come across as mean. I mean, there's ways you talk to people, and there's ways you don't talk to people. And I try to always do the nice way. You may not be saying something they want to hear, really, but you can say it in the nicest way possible. I don't know if that makes any sense even, but there's no need in being ugly to people if you know, if you can actually say nothing at all or say something nice, that's always nice. But sometimes you have to say something to somebody, and it does come across as ugly sometimes. You didn't mean it that way, but that's how it came across, and then they have their feelings hurt, and we just have to guard our words sometimes. We just don't know what we're saying to somebody. That is too close to the end of the hair. I can't get enough of the hair to go into the head. It's not giving enough room. I'm probably going to have to move this one. I'm scared to take it off, though. I should have put it closer to the end, but you know what? I think I can slip it down this way like this. Look at that. Okay, that's good. Maybe that'll do. I don't know. I'm trying my best to work with this hair without having a flat iron. It's much harder to work with curled up like that. I am getting hair to go in, though. It's not like nothing's going in. It's just not going in at the speed I'd like it to. Let's put it that way. I would like more of the hair to go in each time I poke it. I've always used the rubber band method. Always. I've never used any other method. This is my very first time to even attempt to use a command strip. And without the hair laying flatter, it's not working for me. I'm going to put a rubber band around it and try to do it that way. I thought, ooh, command strip, that's going to do it. But not so much when you don't have it flat. And so we're going to see. We're going to see if I can do it a little bit different. It's just hard to get the rubber band on this curly hair. It's every bit as hard to get the rubber band on as it is to root with the command strip on, because the end is so curly. It makes it super hard. Okay, I'm going to take the command strips off now because I'm having a little trouble with it. I need to get used to this way. You know, once you get started doing something a certain way, you just want to do it that way all the time. We don't want to break out of our comfort zone. And that was one of my problems with reborning, is I didn't want to break out of my comfort zone to do anything new, really, because it seemed like I was just super satisfied with what I was already doing. And it makes you just not want to branch out and be, you know, a better artist because you're comfortable. And this hair is falling out of this bundle like crazy. It's because it's curly and you can't really get the whole rubber band around the whole clump of hair because it's so curly. And so you have to put it way down like this to get it on there. And then you have this super bunch at the big, up at the top here, way more than you need to have, and it's hard to work with. And the hair's a little bit slippery too. It's trying to slip out the whole time you're rooting. So this, even though this hair is easy to get in the head, it's not easy to hold on to. Let's put it that way. It's a little bit difficult to hold on to. But one of these days, I'm going to go out and get me one of those flat irons. And when I do, I will be able to root hair much, much better, I think. I think it'll even make the mohair lay down better. I've never used a flat iron on any hair I was going to root. But when I get one, I'm sure going to use it. Because I never even thought of, it makes sense. This part needs to be straight. That makes sense to me. And I can't hold it straight. It won't hold straight. So it needs to just be straight to begin with. You need to be able to flat iron it. And that makes such sense. See, Regina already had a flat iron and she goes, you know, I think this will work. And she just tried it out and it worked. So, yay, you know, but I don't have one because, you know, I don't have hair really. I mean, my hair's so super short because, you know, I don't want hair anymore. I wouldn't even care if I was completely bald. I wouldn't even care. So, you know, having the tool you need already in your house and just thinking up that it can be used in a different way to reborn with is one thing. And not even having the tool is another thing. It makes you not even think of using that as a tool because you don't even have one. And it never crossed my mind. I did think about using a hair dryer as a heat gun. I just didn't know if it would get hot enough to do any good. But I saw another artist on some channel using a hair dryer. And I thought, well, you know, I guess it does work. But I just went on and bought the heat gun because it's made for that. It's not, this heat gun is not specifically a reborning heat gun. Now, Bountiful Baby's got one. It's in the $50 range. That's too rich for my blood. This one costs $10 on eBay. And you can go to many different sites and see these heat guns like I have all over the place. And they're around $10 to $15. And I saw an artist using it. I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody I didn't know who it was. But I was just thumbing through videos and I saw somebody using a heat gun. I go, wow, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that. I just thought, you know, people who use heat guns are trying to cure their doll with a heat gun. It never even dawned on me. They're just trying to dry their doll, you know. And so I saw that artist doing it, and I thought, you know, that's a good idea. You can actually dry that area that you're wanting to put another coat on, like when you're doing a baby scratch or something, and it takes multiple coats, and you don't want to actually go bake the doll every time. You can actually just dry it with the heat gun. And air dry artists use them too, because the way Regina explained it was, if you are doing air dry, there's only a certain number of coats that you should really do in a day because you have to give time for deeper drying. And by using a heat gun, you're getting that deeper drying quicker. So you can do more coats in a day. That's the way she explained it. So it's beneficial to both heat set and air dry artists, maybe for different reasons. Like I used to dry a coat of paint so I could put another coat on before I baked. And I always use it when I'm doing a baby scratch or something like that that takes multiple layers. But you can't build up a baby scratch really from doing it in between your layers because it's got to be on top. It's not an undertone, it's kind of an overtone. And it needs to be on top. It needs to look fresh. It needs to look crisp and last. And you're going to have 4 bakes about for a baby scratch if you don't use a heat gun. Each layer has to be dry before the next layer goes on top. That's going to be a cute little ponytail. I'm just going to bunch it up like that and put it in a ponytail. I think. I don't know. But it's cute. I like it. And so anyway, after I saw that artist doing it, her advice was just go on eBay or anywhere, Mercari, or anywhere that sells used things. Get a used one. It doesn't matter. As long as it heats up, that's all it needs to do. It only needs to heat up. And sure enough, they heat up. I got one for $10. I don't even know if it was new or used. I don't remember. And I looked for one that was pretty cheap and they would ship it to you for free. Because if it's $10 and you're paying $5 for shipping, I don't like that idea. Mine was $10 and no shipping. It was free. And if you look around enough, you're going to find the one you want. And they're all basically the same, even if they're a different color or a different brand. They don't have a temperature control where you can set a certain temperature on them. They just get hot. And you just, move them around on your doll until your doll is dry enough and you turn them off. That's just all it is to it. And they're simple to use. They're straightforward and easy. And they save a lot of time. Because they don't heat the doll. I mean, if you kept it on there long enough, it probably would. But they don't heat the doll deep down. They just heat the surface where the paint is and sort of dry the paint a little bit. And they in no way cure it. Now, like I said, if you could hold it on there long enough, it would deep down heat the doll. And it would cure the paint probably. But who knows how long to hold it in one spot without burning the doll. I would never try to cure a doll that way. I mean, I just wouldn't. But it's great for just drying the paint so you can do another step. And I went so long without one, but I can't even imagine not having one now. If I had to go without having one now, I think I would just have to go crazy. Because I've already been there, so I can't go back, When you don't have one, you don't know what you're missing, really. So you don't really feel like, oh, you're going, I don't need that. I don't think I need that, But I immediately said, I need that when I saw that other artist using it. I don't know who it was. I just don't. I didn't know the woman, so I don't remember a lot. I'm not good with names at all. So I don't remember who it was. It's been a while since I saw it. So, I just don't know. I got some packages coming today. My Bountiful Baby package that has my paint in it for my ethnic babies coming. After I finish Frankie, I may start on Tegan. She's going to be my ethnic baby. I'm going to start on her, and it's going to be laughable probably. People are probably going, no, don't do that. By the time the video goes up, I've already done it though, And I may be going, hey everybody, this is how it looks now. What's the next step? What color needs to go on top of this color? Like that. And I need to learn how to avoid the palms of the hands and stuff. Like, they have to be a different color, so you don't want to get really dark paint on them. It's just going to be a kind of a almost like a joke, me trying to do this. Because I really don't know how to do it. I really don't. I did make a Tegan before, and she was ethnic, but I thought she looked horrible. And I ended up taking her to the nursing home to donate her. And they flipped out over her. They thought she was so good. And I'm going, okay, she doesn't look good to me. Now, her hands were slightly lighter, because my niece did learn how to make ethnic babies. I taught her how to reborn, but I don't make ethnic babies, so I didn't teach her that. But she went home and learned it on her own. And she made some awesome looking ethnic babies. And I had her make some for me so I could sell them. Because you know, sometimes you get a customer that wants a baby that's darker skin, and you can't make them, so you can't provide that for them. And I didn't want that. I wanted to be able to provide whatever people, what was in demand. What do people want? And so I had her make me 2 or 3 different. One time she made Kaylin and Cadence. They're the open and closed eye of these little tiny preemies. And they look so good. Now, she did pencil on the hair, but she penciled on hair on one of them that looked so good. You had to do a double take to tell there wasn't hair on that doll. It was so good. And she did it by she made it actually curly looking too. It actually looked like some curly ethnic hair. I don't know how she did it. She just did it. And then the other one, she said it made her hands cramp too much. So the other one got straighter hair, but it still looked like, a really newborn little ethnic baby. Their hair's going to lay down mostly because they're kind of still wet and gooey from being born. You know what I mean? And their hair has been combed down by the person in the nursery. So I've seen lots of little babies in the nursery of all different ethnicities, and their hair's laying down when they're first born. And then it starts to curl. And then they have more ethnic looking hair. But she made one that had ethnic looking hair and one that had straighter hair, but they looked so good together. They just really did. And I sold them. They sold really good. And anyway, I wanted to get her to make some more for me, but she started, her rheumatoid arthritis started getting so bad, she even quit reborning. She just quit because she said, I just can't. It just hurts too much. She has really bad rheumatoid arthritis. And, it's quite painful. And she said when she tried to hold brushes and stuff for a long time like that in paint, she'd get these horrible, horrible cramps in her hands and stuff. And she said, I'm just choosing not to because of the pain. I know it's going to put me in this really painful situation, so I'm choosing to put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off to the point where I'm just not reborning anymore. And then she just finally gave up on it. She gave me all her kits and stuff. And so, it is what it is. So I can't get her to make me any ethnic babies anymore, so I have to make them for myself. So I'm going to be practicing on that. I'm going to work very hard on Tegan. Yes, I'm going to make a video of it. Even though I don't really want to, I don't want to fail online. But, we need to show our failures and our successes. So failing online is what I really need to do if I'm going to fail. But, some of the stuff I did, like when I was going to try air dry paint. The first time I tried it, I didn't even bother. It didn't even cross my mind I should record it. I was just going to do it to see how it was going to come out. And I had gotten those, what do you call them? Folk art, I think, is the name. Paints that come in they're like craft paint. Almost like that craft paint you can buy at Walmart. I think it's Apple Barrel at Walmart. I'm not sure. But they're almost the same exact thing. They just have a different brand name on them. And then you were supposed to mix all this stuff in it. Oh, it was just forever hard. And the paint was just gooey and icky. I couldn't make it work right. And man, it was laughable. I was just like beside myself with horror at the doll that I had made. It was just horrible. But now if I had been doing it online, I'm sure I would have got a bunch of comments about just how laughable it really was. And people would have been correcting me. Don't do that, No, don't put that in your paint. Put this instead, I just heard nearly as many things about air dry as I did when I first started out doing heat set. I just heard the most bizarre things, and you just didn't know what to believe. It was like that. Well, it's kind of like that with air dry too. You hear a lot of things about that. Different people are using different additives, and you're going, okay, which one do I use? Some people say, I swear by this stuff, it's so good. And other people going, I tried that stuff and it's no good. And now I'm using this instead and it works really good. So you don't really know what to believe. You don't know who to listen to. You don't know which one is really real. And one person likes this, one person likes that, and you just get totally confused. And that's where I was at. But I had bought all this paint and all these additives, and I was going to make a doll. Well, I did, but oh my goodness, was it terrible. And I said, well, that's a bust. And so I just threw it out, threw all the paints out, and just forgot about it. And then later, well, Ultimate Fusion, Ultimate Fusion, Ultimate Fusion. That's all you're hearing. So I go, okay, Ultimate Fusion. Maybe I had the wrong paint. I just needed a better paint. So I go online and I'm looking for some Ultimate Fusion. And even though I'm not a fan of buying starter kits, I just really didn't know what to buy. And they were offering a starter kit. I think it was $80 or something like that. I don't remember. And it had paintbrushes and everything in it. That's how I got my magic brush and this little brush right here. They were in that starter kit. Anyway, I ordered that. And it had basic colors in it. And I'm going, okay, this is confusing. I didn't know anything about the colors. It's like cool red, warm red, just different colors like that. And it came with this instruction sheet that said, okay, for every drop of paint you put in your mixture, you're going to need 100 drops of water or something like that. And on some of the colors, it was 250 drops of water. So, okay, I got my bulb syringe and I'm literally counting the drops of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, get up to 100 and you're going, okay, that's not much paint. That's not going to make much paint because it's just 100 drops of water. That's just a little bit of paint. And I'd put my 1 drop of paint in there and I'm going, okay, that looks so watery. I just don't think it's going to color anything. How could that possibly put any color on a doll? So, okay. And then I was reading about, they actually advocated you just use it like that. You didn't need any additives unless you started having problems. Like if the paint's beading up, you use the anti-bead. They had one called anti-bead. And you put like 1 or 2 drops of that in there. It didn't change anything, by the way. The paint was beading up and it didn't change a thing. So I'm thoroughly confused, sitting there trying to figure out how to paint this doll and actually get the paint to stay on the doll. It's rolling off the doll like crazy. So, okay, more anti-bead. And then it says, okay, if you're getting shine, use shine remover. They should have all these little bottles of additives. And I'm going, okay, how much do you put? It never said how much to put. And I'm going, 3 drops. I'll put 3 drops. Didn't change a thing. It's still shiny and it's still beaded up on the doll, everything. So, okay, maybe I just need to keep painting. And I finally got a teeny bit of information, and somebody said after you get the first coat on, it'll stick real good. Just go on and get that first coat on there and just make it work any way you can. Okay, I'll do that. Then somebody said, oh, use the sealer first. Put the sealer on the doll first, and that'll make the paint stick. I'm just doing all these things people are saying because I don't know any better. I have no idea how to use this paint, and I'm just not getting good results. Finally, I started getting the paint to stick, and I started putting all this color on the doll, but the paint is so watery that I'm having to put 20 coats. Like, okay, I've put 4 coats of this one color. I literally cannot tell any paint has been put on this doll. Literally cannot tell. It's just bizarro. And so, okay, I'll just keep going. So I'm putting all these different colors on them. They have one called Flesh Base. Maybe I'm supposed to put that on before I put Flesh. I just didn't know. There's just no instruction for the order to put them in, which one to use for what purpose, none of that. It's just no rhyme or reason to it. So, okay, I'm putting it on. I finally made a doll that had gorgeous color to it, but it was so shiny. Shiny. And I'm going, I put anti-shine or shine remover or whatever the heck it was called in every bit of that paint I used. and it's still that shiny. So, okay, somebody said, well, did you use the matte varnish or matte sealer or whatever it was called? I can't remember. No, but I have some. So I started putting that on the doll. I can do that. I'll put that on the doll. And it didn't change a thing. It was still shiny, 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 shiny. I couldn't get the shine off that doll. He looked really, really gorgeously painted, but he was so, so shiny. Anyway, so I said, okay, forget it. And I stripped the doll and I did him with heat set paint. I just got mad, and I just put all that Ultimate Fusion back in that little bag it came in and threw it over to the side and went back to using my heat set paint. I said, oh, forget it. Then I was talking with someone else about my experiences with air dry. They were asking me why I liked heat set, why didn't I do air dry? And I said, because I freaking can't make it work, that's why. And they said, oh, this paint's different, get this paint. So yet another kind of paint. This one was waterborne. Oh, you won't have any of those problems with waterborne. I couldn't do it either. It had problems too. And so I said, you know what? Why am I even doing this? I don't want to sweat and worry and just, you know, have all this trouble in my paint. I want my painting experience to be fun and relaxed and a good experience, and I'm not having that with this. The learning curve is so steep. Do I really want to do it? And I said, even though I wanted to paint a doll with air dry, I don't really want to learn this new technique when I already have a technique stuck in my brain. So why am I putting myself through all this? And so I just stopped. I just literally stopped. And I just decided it's not worth it to me. And so, that's my experience with air dry. I didn't record any of it. Maybe I should have, but I didn't because it was so, so hard. I just didn't want to have the worry of trying to record it and make a decent video out of it. I just didn't want to do it. And so I said, I'll just make one doll and then I'll record it. Nope, didn't get there. Never finished a complete doll. Zendrick was the closest. Yeah, I had a Zendrick kid. He's a tiny little preemie, real, real cute. But after I stripped him, he never was the same really again. But it was okay. I did reborn him with heat set, and I did sell him. But the thing is, you know, it's just not as easy. I mean, some people make it look so, so simple. But I'm sure they had to go through that learning curve as well. But they never had done heat set before, so they didn't already have one technique in their brain already. I mean, I'm sure there's a few people who have switched, but I think mostly people stick with the one they start out with because they've learned it. You know, it's simple. It's as simple as that. You've already learned this one kind. Why are you trying to switch? Unless you're having a problem with the one that you learned, why are you going to switch? Why? Because you already know that kind. And it makes it a little bit harder to do your work. I think that's going to make a cute ponytail. I'm just going to bunch it up like that. Kind of. Well, I'm not through up here, but I'm just going to bunch it up like that and maybe put it in a ponytail like that. I might have should have rooted this going up and this going down to where it came together as a ponytail, but I don't know. I kind of like this little rat tail. He's going to have two of them. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But, you know, air dry and heat set artists are not in competition with each other. We're both still just artists. And I can't really say that one is better than the other one. They're just different. I used to think, no way. There's no way air dry is as good as heat set. I used to think that. And my information was based on this one doll. I ordered a doll. I didn't know it was air dry when I ordered it. And when I got it, it was very dull painted. But that falls on the artist, not the paint. It was very, very muted looking. The paint didn't look good at all. Because evidently they didn't put enough layers, or they didn't make the paint dark enough. They didn't do something right. I don't really know what it was. But it just looked unpainted. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Yes, it had color on it, but still it looked like bare vinyl. The vinyl had no texture, it had no depth. That's what it lacked, a lot of stuff like that, because the artist probably was very inexperienced. Now online it looked good, but when you get it in front of you and it has no depth at all to it, it did have color. You could see colors on it. But if you know what I'm talking about the depth, it still looked like a flat doll, so it didn't really look painted to me. Yes, there was color on it, but it looked like the vinyl just came that color, and they didn't really paint it. That's how it looked to me. And I just liked it very, very much. And I ended up just donating that doll because I didn't like it. I didn't really want to try to fix it. I didn't know that you could paint over the top of air dry with heat set. I didn't know that at the time. And all you have to do is seal it first, and you can paint right over air dry. And you can do the same with heat set. If you put your primer, sealer, varnish, whatever it's called, you put on at the beginning, you can paint right over the top of heat set too, because you don't even need to heat it because you're using air dry. I think air dry is easier to put over heat set than heat set is to put over air dry, but they can both be put over the top of the other one. I learned that. I don't know how I learned it, but I learned it. And it's not that hard. People in the baby groups are always saying, you know, I got this doll and it's air dry. Can I paint on top of that air dry and make it darker? You sure can. You got to seal it first. You need a barrier between the paint they already have and the paint you're going to put on it. And basically that's it. Now, if you get a kit or a piece of a kit, like let's just say legs. Say you had some legs that somebody gave you and they had already been painted or sealed or whatever, and you wanted to work on top of that, you can actually do that. You can strip it if you want to. You don't have to. But if you don't like the color and stuff that's on it, say you don't even like the paint job, you can strip all that off and you can redo them. But let's just say you wanted it a little bit darker, or you wanted to add a little more red to it. You can do that. You just have to make sure you seal it first. Now that is cute. That is cute. See, it's really tight at the bottom, pointy, and it comes up to this wider piece up here at the top, and it's really, really cute. I just think it's adorable. I'm going to try my best to put that in a ponytail. I don't know if it's a good idea to take this rubber band off of this hair, but I don't have another rubber band. I mean, I do, but I have to go hunt one because I have them in a little medicine bottle to keep them together, but that I don't know where I've put that medicine jar. I move it around. All the stuff I have gets moved around. I'm just cutting this hair so it'll come off this rubber band. It's wound around the rubber band. And it won't hardly come off if you don't cut some part of that knot a little bit. And then you can just pull it off. And I'm going to try to make him a ponytail. See how it looks. I may not like it, but this is just a very tiny little rubber band. And it's child size for ponytails. I had my son go to the store and get them for me one day when I was at his house. I said, I need these little ponytail holders. They're just little tiny. I said, I think they're the kind that they put in little girls' hair when they're putting all those different little plaits or cornrows in their hair. They're just tiny, tiny to go around tiny little braids or ponytails. And I said, they're all the same size. They're black. And he went to the store and got them. And they were right. He got the right thing. That is so cute. Look at that. From the side, you can see how it's rooted. See? It's rooted skinny at the bottom and gets fatter and fatter as it comes up. I don't know how it's going to look in a ponytail, but I'm going to try it right now. If I don't like it, I'll just cut the rubber band and take it out. I'm not going to try to pull it off. It might pull some of his hair out, her hair out, its hair out. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy yet. It's going to be a girl because I don't actually have boy clothes for him to wear. I have girl clothes because, well, I was going to make it a girl, so I'm just going to try a ponytail. I don't know if I'm doing this right or what, but it's going to look like a ponytail, I think. There is a lot of rubber band here for this tiny little ponytail. It's got to keep going, I guess, until I get it wound around there enough to stay. And like I said, if I don't like it, it's going to be sloppy, I'm pretty sure. Oh, that is super, super cute. Look at that. I need it to go a little further down, though. I need it to come down a little more like that. But that is super cute. Look at that. I just think it's adorable. Of course, I need to fix it a little. I'm not real good at making ponytails. I never had any little girls of my own. I just had boys. So, and you know, they didn't have ponytails. But that is cute. Look at that. Oh, even if it sticks out like that, I think it's cute. And after I get this little triangle on top of the head done, I might actually pull it back and make a third ponytail. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Might pull it straight up and make a ponytail that sticks up. I don't know. But that's cute. I just love it. Now I'm going to be rooting on this side. This will help hold the hair over there while I'm doing it. I'm going to be rooting this little triangle on this side. And this little part in the middle is going to be bald, as is around the ponytail like this. It's going to be bald. And then when I root the triangle up here on the top, the sides of his hair will be bald. I just like bald. I don't know. This is the first fairies I've ever made that had rooted hair. The rest of them had penciled hair. So, you know, pencil hair can look good or it can look stupid and cheap. It just depends on how you do it. Some people do real long hairs that go from the back to the front. And some people do little short, like just little short hairs. And it's just a preference on how you want to do it and what you think looks good. I really like rooted hair. And whenever I get him rooted, he's going to be so, so cute. He'd look cute with a braid, too. These will look cute as braids, I think. But I don't know. I may take the rubber band out and just let it hang down like Jasper's hair does. I don't know yet. But I'm going to root this other side now. But first, I'm probably going to go on and stop the video and go on and put some more paint on Kyrie. I had to remember what doll it was. And turn Frankie over and give him a second bake. And then we'll come back and do this in between. Because, yeah, it took over an hour to root this part. It took an hour and 12 minutes, actually, to make it and make his ponytail. But that's not too bad for half of a head. An hour, that's not bad at all. And we'll get the other half on the next break, and then we'll get him rooted. And he'll be cute, too. Monday, I'm going to put him together. I may put him together today if I get finished with him, because he's ready to put together. His glue is all cured. He's just ready. I just haven't rooted him yet, so that's why he's not together. I don't like rooting on a doll that's together, because you have the head laying here, you have a whole body sticking out here. It's just hard. I did do some rooting on a doll, because I had already rooted the doll, and then I decided it needed more hair, so I rooted a little extra in the head, but it was just a little, you know. But if you had to root a whole head with the doll laying across, the whole doll laying out here, it's just too hard. So that's why I root them first. But anyway, I'm going to end this video and go on and get my paints out and get back to painting. And then we'll come back and work on Jasper Clover some more. So please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And happy reborning.